On this episode of the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino, we give you what we're watching for in OU versus Ole Miss. Then former Ole Miss quarterback John Darnell tells us a little more about the Rebels. We also preview the best games of Week 9 of college football. And of course, we give you our winners and losers of the week. Please download and subscribe to the podcast. Rate it 5 stars and write us a good review. Follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search Oklahoma Breakdown on any of those and you'll find us. All right. Our man Michael Hosty will kick this thing off. It's time for the Oklahoma Breakdown. It's a beautiful Wednesday, October 23rd, and you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience, and there are so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted the OKC Metro's #1 casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games with a huge selection of table games, including blackjack match, roulette, and Teddy's favorite, craps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and hearts. And to learn more about their gaming promotions and entertainment options in the month of October, all you got to do is visit riverwind.com. Riverwind Casino, good times, great rewards. Ted, it is a results driven business, my friend.
Yes, it is.
And unfortunately, the offense just was not getting results. And as a result of that, the leader of the offense, Seth Littrell, was let go and Joe John Finley has been elevated to the play caller, and Kevin Johns is, assuming a larger role with this offense. I completely understand it. The the offense, the lack of production, it's just unacceptable, but I hate that it's an all-time great Sooner that gets fired as a result of it. It's just a bad all around, man. I hate it.
Yeah, it's brutal. It is. And, Coach Venables has said, you heard him say it, this is the offense's problem. It's not all Seth, right? So, but you got to have some change, and he's made that change. Yeah, I'm with you. Love Seth, awesome guy, great Sooner. Family of Sooners. Dad won a national championship. He won a national championship here. Legacy player. Doesn't change my opinion of him at all. Um, I hope that this group is able to rally. There's going to be some change. What all did they change? I don't know. But I mean, you've talked about this before. When a coach gets let go, it becomes real very quickly. And I hope that's the case. You know, um, it can be very heavy all of a sudden whenever you walk in, one of your coaches is no longer there, and everyone, if they have anything about them at all, should feel some responsibility for that. So um, I'm curious to see how this team responds to it. Curious to see what the offense looks like moving forward. But I hate it for Seth, hate it for his family, but do have to move on, unfortunately. It's how this thing goes.
There is no worse feeling as a player than getting one of your coaches fired. I've experienced it in college, in the NFL, and if if you care at all the way that you should care, you should feel terrible.
Mhm.
And my hope is that these guys on the offensive side of the ball, that changes something inside of them. At the very least, I just want to see guys play their balls off.
Yeah.
I just want to see guys fly around on the football field and finish plays and be physical. Yes, do I want him to put together a great plan and be extremely detail oriented? Yes, all of the above. But at the very least, go fly around on the football field the way that Seth Littrell used to.
Because you can control that.
You absolutely can. And I hate that I hate that this didn't go better for Seth because he's an awesome guy. He's an OU legend, and that won't change just because this went poorly. But these guys on the offensive side of the ball have to realize that they had a large role in that man losing his job. And if they don't get in gear, a lot of other guys around him are going to lose their jobs.
Mhm.
And they have to realize that. So they better go out there and at the very least put it on the line for the guys that are with you in that building every single day. I'm interested to see what it looks like.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's get into what we're watching for in OU versus Ole Miss. Let's start on the defensive side of the ball. What are you watching for from OU's defense against Ole Miss's offense?
Yet again, I I watch Ole Miss and they've got talented players, really good quarterback, um, a really good group of skill guys, solid offensive line, but I like the matchup. I think that we can match up with these guys really well. This style of offense we are really familiar with. I mean, it's still, I mean, the majority of the concepts you see, like the general philosophy of the offense, is very similar to what Jeff Lebby did whenever he was here. You get some of the tempo stuff, a lot of similarities in the run game and in the RPO game. Um, but I like the matchups. I don't look at any one of the matchups now. Trey Harris, we'll see if he plays. He's their leading receiver by a huge margin. Um, he is a very difficult matchup. He's the one guy that you look at and say, okay, you know, he is a guy that can give you some serious trouble. But I look at it as a whole, I think we should be able to play really good against him. Um, at running back, I think they're solid, but not the best running back that we've faced in Parrish. He can do some nice things. He could run through a couple of tackles. Doesn't blow me away with the speed. Doesn't blow me away with the physicality. Has some nice vision. Solid running back. In the running game, you get a lot of the same stuff that we've seen. You'll get counter. They'll run it a bunch of different ways. Counter OT, counter OY with the guard and the tight end pulling. You'll get the zone insert stuff with the tight end. And I don't believe that the tight end, is all that physical of a blocker, kind of a position blocker type of guy. He's tall and lean and can get knocked around quite a bit, but they'll run the zone insert stuff with him, the split zone stuff, a lot of the same things that you see. Um, you'll see like they'll do some not gadget runs, but just kind of a little bit different backfield motion. They have a direct snap where they snap it to the running back and he and the quarterback almost look like they're running a sweep, but it's the counter. I mean, it's basically all you're doing is running counter with the back to the play side, and he's coming here and back, and it's a direct snap to him. But the footwork, the line pulling, all of that stuff isn't much different. But they'll kind of mess with your eyes with some of that. You don't get a whole lot of different. It's not like Texas and Sarkisian formation and motion wise to where you're going to get a bunch of new formations and a new shift and a new motion. You're not going to get a whole lot of that. They'll do some stuff, but mainly you get the jet motion for the jet sweep stuff, and they'll run it and they'll run the jet sweep action on a lot of their running plays. There'll be the jet sweep motion. The ball snapped whenever he's near the mesh, and they'll just run zone insert off of it, or they'll run, counter, but you have that jet motion there to add, another level for the defense eye candy and window dressing. In the passing game, I mean, you'll get a lot of RPO, a lot of stuff near the line of scrimmage. but they like to go vertical. That's the one thing about this team. You don't like, there used to be a time in college football where you would get four verticals all the time. Four guys, whether it's 2 by 2, everyone just ripping it down the seam. 3 by 1 verticals with like the deep over route. Don't see nearly as much of that anymore, but you will see a lot of that stuff from Ole Miss. They like to push it deep down the seam. Um, they like in the RPO stuff and in the quick stuff. They love to just attack either if it's man to man on the outside, and they know they're because of all the verticals, they're going to get a big pedal on the snap from the defensive back. They love to just turn and throw the smoke out there right now. Um, but other than that, I mean, it's a lot of the same stuff that we see and we're familiar with. And matchup wise, aside from Trey Harris, I like what we've got against him. The big question to me is how much do we see Jackson Dart run the football? That he hasn't majored in it, hasn't been like massive for them. But the running game, as I mentioned, is not, they're not blowing things away right now. So curious to see, and maybe it's not against us, but as the season rolls on, if we start to see him be forced into the running game a little bit more. I offensive line solid, but opportunity to get to the quarterback. I think they're. I would say, even though it's not reflected, I think they come off the ball better than they pass protect. Personally,
I think just looking at their O line with the current guys that they've been playing, I expect our defensive line to control the football game, the majority of the game.
yeah,
I expect them to win a lot more battles than they lose. When I watch Ole Miss's group, went and watched what they put on tape against LSU, there's not a lot of movement being generated in the run game. So I think with the level that OU's defensive line has played at this season and the consistency we've seen from that group and the fact that that group is healthy and maybe even getting a little healthier at a couple spots, that I feel pretty good about the matchup. Man,
yeah,
it comes down. I view it very similarly to the Texas game. Now, Ole Miss does not have Texas's personnel, especially along the offensive line. But the problem with Texas was OU's defense was really, really good for 95% of the plays.
yep,
Ole Miss, if they land those 5, 6, 7 explosive plays, that can take a defensive performance that was looking good for a while and make it a bad one.
yeah, and that's just kind of generally speaking with Ole Miss. They live on the big play. Parrish, the main running back, he's got a long of 42. Jones, a running back, has a long of 46. Bentley has a long of 50. I mean, these guys got long plays. And in the passing game, Trey Harris has a long of 70. Wells has a 66. Watkins has a 75. They can turn your lights out with the long play. So you're right. You cannot, you got to keep everything in front of you in this football game. And if you do that, it's going to be difficult for them to march the field and put together, in my opinion, long sustained drives. So if we can limit the explosive plays, defense has a chance to play pretty good, in my opinion.
Only other question after, is there anything they do schematically that, I mean, you kind of ran through the run game and some of the stuff they do in the passing game. Is there anything you look at and you go, hey, that could really give us problems, other than the fact that if Trey Harris is healthy, that dude is fantastic?
Yeah, it's just the explosive stuff, and it's an eyes game. They do the same stuff where pretty much every passing play starts with some type of play action fake, and I say play action. It's not really play action. It's just the quarterback doing this, right, to the running back. Um, but they don't, some offenses like Sarkisian manipulates parts to create a matchup or to get someone open. This is more of just a matchup driven offense, I believe, where we've got what we've got. Here's our guys. Here's what we do. We're going to count the box, count numbers, um, see who we get matched up on certain receivers and push the ball, take some shots down the field. So, like the run game, we've been pretty good in all against most styles of run game. I mean, I guess if they decide to go heavy quarterback run, that always throws a little wrench into things to make sure that you can come up with the numbers to defend that well. But other than that, I see plenty of opportunity for us defensively.
Anything else? OU's defense against Ole Miss's offense.
I don't root for injuries, but it would be nice if Trey Harris sat this one out.
He's got a bright NFL future. Be smart, Trey. That's
Be
all we're
smart.
saying.
Be smart.
Be smart.
Still,
Take
they
care of
got the
yourself.
Georgia game coming up. A&M.
Oh my gosh.
Don't
Listen,
don't mess with 1-3 in Conference Oklahoma. Come on.
I know you're joking, but it's still coming out of your mouth and it still hurts.
I know. I know.
Oh, speaking of hurt, let's talk about OU's offense against Ole Miss's defense. But first, hitting the highway, remember to stop at Love's Travel Stops. You can't miss the heart of the highway. And with the Love's app, you can also save big. How big? 10 or 15 cents big. Save 10 cents per gallon on gas and 15 cents per gallon on auto diesel. Save with the Love's app today and be welcomed by clean places and friendly faces. Certain conditions may apply. See loves.com for details.
Oh, you tailgaters, listen up. We're now officially in the premium conference of college football, and you expect a premium product on the field and on the grill. That's why you need Didier Ranch's steak burgers to take your tailgate to the next level. Proudly raised in Oklahoma for over 120 years, premium beef this good is hard to come by. Go to DidierRanch.com. That's DIDIER ranch.com. Use promo code Oklahoma15 for 15% off your order. Didier Ranch, tradition plays better and tastes better.
And we are brought to you by Simple Modern, the official drinkware partner of the Oklahoma Sooners. This season, Simple Modern is creating unique drinkware for each home game. So get your exclusive refillable Sooner cups at any of the remaining home games. And when away games have you cheering at home, get your OU gear at simplemodern.com or Amazon's Simple Modern shop, along with more than 100 partnerships with colleges and professional sports teams. With 10% of all Simple Modern profits going to charity, many in Oklahoma, you're also helping Oklahomans off the field. Simple Modern, it's good everywhere. All right, let's talk about what we're watching for from OU's offense versus Ole Miss's defense. I mean, first of all, it's got to be, hey, what does this offense look like under Joe John Finley?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it seems reasonable to expect the offense to look more like it did early in the season, schematically. You've got Jackson Arnold back as the starting quarterback, and Joe John Finley grew up in the coaching world in the RPO offense. Like that is what has molded his offensive philosophy with all of the places he has been. And so I would expect it to look more like that. Do I know it's going to look more like that? No, I don't know that, but that is my expectation because that's what he is most comfortable with. And I think Jackson Arnold is really comfortable with that stuff as well. Do you disagree or is that kind of your expectation, Ted? I think you go with what you know, right?
You go with what you know. Um, I, I'm curious what the head coach thinks of that because it felt like that was one of the things that he wanted to kind of get away from at one point, right? But
Well, we got
it
away
hasn't
from
been
it.
better since. Yeah. So,
We got away from it, and look at us now.
right. So yeah, I mean, that makes as much sense as anything else.
This is, and maybe this is too optimistic. When you think about the issues for the offense early in the season, the offensive line play, it has not been great all season, right? You got to block people. That will solve a lot of problems. But one of the big issues was Jackson Arnold just was not making good decisions in the RPO system. Whether that was when he was supposed to hand it off, where he was supposed to go with the football in the passing game, he was making poor decisions. If he can just make the proper decisions in that system, it's not entirely crazy to think that this can be a pretty efficient offense. So it all still comes down to execution, executing at a high level. But if Jackson Arnold can just execute his piece and the 10 guys around him play at a higher level, then hey, maybe this group moves the ball and scores some points. But I just rattled off a lot of ifs. I understand that.
Right.
So we're going to see now, looking at Ole Miss's defense, I wish I could come on here and say, you know what, they're not very good on defense. That would be a lie. This defense is good. They are a 4-2-5 personnel group. They play an even 4 down front. They'll jump into 4 down odd spacing. And they've got some dudes on the defensive line. Walter Nolan and JJ Pegues are a problem. 38-2. Nolan's 2. Pegues is 38. Big, physical, strong, explosive. Play with knockback in the run game. Can convert, can go speed to power, have multiple pass rush moves. This is the best duo of interior defensive linemen that OU has played. And you got to come up with a plan for these guys. If you're going to be on an island with two, whether that's guard, center, it's not going to go particularly well. But the tough part about interior defensive linemen, it's hard to chip with a back and tight end. Like that stuff becomes more difficult, which is why when you've got just disruptive interior defensive linemen, it's an absolute nightmare for an offense. And that is exactly what Ole Miss has. Walter Nolan's good, man. I mean, and you can throw Xavier Harris in there as well. That guy is 6'7", 320. And you can see how long his arms are. Number 51. Guy's got super long arms. That's not a great matchup for Troy Everett, who is not a long-armed guy.
No.
6'7", 320 with super long arms.
I don't know if that's a good matchup for anyone.
It's not. It's not. But these guys are physical. They play hard. They're also, I think they're good on the edge. Jared Ivey, number 15, 6'6", 285, lining up at defensive end. These guys across the board, big, physical. Now, they don't have as much. They don't have dynamic pass rushers at the edges like South Carolina had. They don't have those types of guys. What they do have is dudes with raw power. They're going to try to go speed to power and put you in the quarterback's lap. And they do it at a very high level. So it's going to be a challenge, man, a massive challenge. And I'm interested to see what the offensive line even looks like. What's the lineup even going to be? I don't know, but I know this. Whoever they put out there better be ready to play the most physical game they've played all season long. Because that's what's coming their way with this defensive line, Ted. This is a group, and I don't even know if Princely Umanmielon's going to play. He was kind of a game time decision against LSU. They've had the time. They had a bye last week. They've had the time for him to get healthy. They're a different defense with him on the edge. Mm-hmm. He's just a casual 6'4", 255 with all kinds of pass rush moves.
He's a small guy on the line.
Yeah, little guy up there. But He's been banged up. I'm expecting him to play. I mean, he had the bye week to heal up. This is a big game for them. They need to get some momentum back. And if Uman plays, that takes away one of the areas of the defense that I think we can really attack. Because Ole Miss was playing Centarian Perkins number 4 in Princely's place. And remember, Uman is 6'4", 255. Perkins is 6'1", 210. That's a guy that if he's lined up at the line of scrimmage, you have to punish them for playing him at the line of scrimmage. You have to run right at that little guy. And he's a good player. He's solid, but he's 6'1", 210 playing in the trenches. You got to punish that guy.
It doesn't take much to be able to look across the line of scrimmage and say, should we run over here with the 6'7", 330-pounder, or should we run over here to the 210-pound guy? Please, don't screw that up.
It's not hard. And I'll even say this. I know the tight ends have struggled. They should be able to get something going against a guy that weighs 210 pounds. If they don't, may God help us all.
Which, I mean, I don't mean to say anything about, like, there could be some great players that are that
210's
size.
210, brother.
That's it. I mean, you have to pick some spots to try and attack the weakness of the defense, and being undersized there is a place where maybe you can get something going.
You got to attack him. If that's how it works out, if Uman still isn't ready to go, you have to attack Perkins number 4 over and over and over in the run game, which leads to some run game thoughts. That's my number one thought. If number 1's not out there, attack number 4. You just have to do it. Whether it's stretch, whether you're running counter at him, you're just running zone at him. I don't care. Pin, pull, whatever. You have to attack that guy. Now, I do think number 1's going to play. I'm preparing for the worst, okay, Ted? That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I've said it before on here, and I'll say it again. This offensive line has struggled to move people. And I don't think this is the week where they start moving people.
No.
With how good Ole Miss is, especially in the interior. If you can't move people, you have to make people move. This D-line for Ole Miss is big, physical, play with knockback. They want to make plays. They're really good at shedding blocks. Running right at them is not – I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's a recipe for success. You've got to bring some variety in the run game, and you have to make this defensive line move. You have to incorporate perimeter runs because whether it's Nolan, Pegues, super tall Harris, like those guys, if you're just trying to double team them and knock them off the ball, it's just, I don't think it's going to work. So you got to think, hey, stretch to the tight end, pin pull, get out on the perimeter, zone insert, but with kind of a wider track on the front side to stretch that front side. We've seen it this year. They've run split zone with a wider track on the front side to try to get some more horizontal stretch. Those are the types of things that they need to do in the run game against this defensive line. Make these guys react and move horizontally. Make them play like when things are moving fast side to side.
They want to anchor. They want to anchor. They want to they want to fight through double teams. They want you to, you said variety. I agree on the variety, but it can't be exotic variety. Like the stuff
you
we
don't
saw
want
in Texas.
Super counter sprint draw? Come on, man.
No,
Bring back
you,
super counter sprint draw. Let's do it. What
dude,
could go wrong against these monsters?
every good defense, like elite defensive lineman I've ever seen, like Tommy Harris, for example, when people used to try and run power and back block on Tommy Harris, he would just club the shit out of the guy that was coming on the back block, and that guy would go flying across the ground, and then he'd go make the play in the backfield for like 3 yards. I mean, that's they are waiting for that to happen.
Nolan's really good. Really, really good. The best we've seen in the interior. And it brings me back to, hey, attack the perimeter. The
Yeah.
strength is the interior. And I will say, they will line him up at defensive end. They'll line Pegues up at defensive end as well. They'll move these guys around. But I think that trying to run like downhill, like that inside zone dive play, I don't know, man. I don't think that's going to go well at all. You have to attack the perimeter, and this is something I was thinking about. Jet sweep has disappeared since Deion Burks got hurt. Get back to it.
That's one of
I
the
don't care
things
who it
I've
is.
got down.
Jacob Jordan, Zion Reagans. I don't care. That is a play you have to attack the edges of this defense. You have to get the ball on the perimeter.
Take it, take it. Oh, do not let the strength of their football team get going. Avoid them as much as you can.
That should be a big emphasis in this game plan. Hey, let's
It
avoid
better be.
two and 38. If you challenge 2 and 38, if you say we're coming right at you, guys, you're gonna get your ass kicked.
There's a time to do that, and this is not the time. Like, there's a time whenever, like, if you've got a really good running game and you're physical as hell and you're healthy and you want to go set the tone, okay, yes. This
Strength
is
on strength.
yes, this is not the time for that. We are not in a position to be doing that.
I don't know if this is gonna make you feel worse. They're really good at mucking things up with interior twists in the run game. They make it tough. It's something you see from our defense quite a bit. And OU's tackles have to do a good job of preventing their guards from getting picked in those twist games in the run game. Like at times they're going to be in their 4 down odd spacing, and the guy at defensive end is going to slant hard inside and try to kill the guard as the nose sets up the center and just wraps around it. And they just create this wall of chaos to cancel a bunch of gaps out. It's not easy, but tackles, you got to protect your guard. Guards got to protect the center. And when I watch it, if the tackles can cut the penetrating defensive end off in some of those things, when that's happened to them a couple times, there's creases. It's not easy. I'm not trying to make it sound like it's easy, but one of the things to try to help alleviate the effectiveness of some of those interior twists is just running gap scheme runs. And it can eliminate some of that stuff's effectiveness. And we've seen in the past this team run counter, but get it out on the perimeter, run it a little wider. And that I think that would be advantageous as well if you want to get to some gap scheme stuff to try to reduce the effectiveness of some of these twist games. And something we saw against South Carolina, I think could be really good. We pulled Troy Everett on counter. We ran counter where the first puller was the center, and he kicked out the end man on the line of scrimmage. And then the tight end was coming, and he was the second puller. What do you want to call it? CY counter, CH counter. I think against their 4 down odd spacing look, I think that's a good play. We'll see how much gap scheme stuff you get to. Kentucky, big gap scheme team. Ole Miss just kept swimming every down block. They knew it was coming, swam it right there to make the play at the line of scrimmage. I just went, damn, man, these guys,
Yeah. If you
they're
like, if
good.
they can pick it up and they can see it, They could see the pulls coming and they know the back blocks are there. They can see it in your stance. It's difficult on guys that good.
Yes. And I'll just say there is one player that played guard for Oklahoma a lot in the South Carolina game. And when you watch tape, you can tell he's pulling every time,
Yeah.
every single time. And if I can see it, they can see it.
Well, here's what I always say about stuff like that. If you can see it and they can see it, use it. Use it. Use it somehow to your advantage.
I know the tight ends haven't been great. And I know I may anger some people with what I'm about to say. But damn it, if Ole Miss is going to line up in a six-man box when you play 12 personnel with both tight ends in the core, you get in it and you run it at their ass and see what's up. You have to see what's up. If they're going to play a six-man box when you've got seven blockers, it's straight disrespect and you got to see what you're made of, okay?
I'm fine with that.
And if you could force them to get a seventh element in there, throw it down the damn field, okay? Out of 12. Come on, Bowers Sharp, Jake Roberts, Caden Helms. One guy finishing blocks. Come on, I love you, Caden Helms. But I'm serious. 12 personnel. There's several snaps of them lining up in a six-man light box when you've got seven blockers in the core. And if you go quarterback run game, you've got 8.
Got numbers.
You got a significant numbers advantage. So I think you have to get to some of that just to see how they line up. And if you can find some success, get in 12 personnel and run stretch at their ass. I may faint if we do that. You can get to perimeter run game out of 12 personnel. It's very easy. In fact, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So if they want to play a six-man box to 12, like come up with some perimeter run game, run stretch. Hey, how about this? Motion the other tight end over, run stretch lead. Get to some old school football plays, boys. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think you gotta see if you can find some money in that, if that's how they're going to line up to 12 when you have both tight ends in the core. Some pass game thoughts. I kind of feel the same way I did when I watched South Carolina's defense. Really good defensive line. Gonna be really tough duty to hold up for 4 to 5 seconds against some of these guys that they've got. You have to have some quick game in. And that is something, Ted, I'm sure you'll be shocked to know that I went and watched about half a season of 2023 Duke today just to see, kind of what Kevin Johns was into as a coordinator. A lot of stuff in the intermediate passing game that I really like quick game for Riley Leonard there last year, where the ball's getting out of his hand quick.
Oh, I've been begging for that.
So Kevin John's supposed to have a big influence on what they're doing offensively. That would not be a bad thing if he could take some of what they were doing at Duke in the quick game last year and get that implemented for Saturday. Not a bunch of complicated stuff, but some really good stuff, especially against zone that I really liked how they were flooding some of the zone concepts with all these guys. It's good stuff, but you have to throw some down the field on this team. You have to make them respect that you're willing to take those chances. And Jackson Arnold can do it, man. We know he can do it. But you got to let it fly. You got to connect on some of them. Ole Miss's corners, one corner. Amos is good. The Bama transfer. Mm-hmm. But the other corner has been a bit of a question mark. They've played some different guys. And if they play number 28, Jaden Kennedy, you have to attack that guy. He has given up quite a few big plays. Now, he's given up those big plays to some very talented wide receivers. Very talented. But he's given up big plays nonetheless. So you have to attack 28 if they're going to play him significant snaps in the football game. Ted, you and I, we had a meeting of the minds about how they play the shallow cross. It's interesting, man. They take a safety from depth, and when you run a shallow cross from that side, he flies downhill and takes him man to man in some of these looks. There's got to be a way we can take advantage of it, Ted. Tell me there's a way.
Yeah, I think there is. Most people call it the cut unders, right? So if you get an under safety to that side, depending on game plan, whatever, is going to cut that guy. He's going to take him, and then the free player kind of sifts back. Um, the number one way is by changing your route. If you have a tight underneath route and you see the safeties cutting it and going to pick you up, take it vertical. Boom, cutting it, bam, I'm vertical right now. Another way is like if teams are cutting unders, means everyone is like really in tune to the under. You get one, you're jumping it right away. And I say whenever something like that happens, you can throw screen away from it. I know we're not a running back screen team, but you see that often with running back screen teams. Under, cut, draws a bunch of attention. People are thinking there's under here and over there. So this player will push all the way across. It draws a ton of attention, and you can screen back away from where they're cutting the under. Um, I Are they going to do something like that? I don't know, but there's ways to attack it because it's aggressive. When you're taking a deep player to come up and take a 4 or 5 yard route, you have to take advantage of it.
No doubt. My last thing in the pass game, more Jacob Jordan. I want to see, and this is something since he was making plays in the South Carolina game, it's something I've been thinking about. This team has lacked guys that can just make plays in the intermediate area of the field. We've seen Bauer Sharp have a little success. We saw Deion Burks have a little success, but you need guys that can just get open in the 8 to 12 yard range, especially on third down. Guys that can move the sticks, guys that can make efficient plays on 2nd and 10 to where you're in 3rd and 2 instead of 3rd and 8. Those guys bring incredible value to a football team. That has been missing from this offense. And if Jacob Jordan could be that guy, put him on the damn field.
I agree.
Especially against this defensive line. If he can go and get open and has a good sense for space and zone and can make guys create space and man, right, with precise route running, play him. Because the ball needs to get out quick against this team. Because Walter Nolan is coming. JJ Pegues is coming. Ivy is coming. Get the ball out quick. And if Jordan can be that guy, then let's see him, man. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if it happens. Just a few pass pro thoughts. Be ready to anchor, boys. 2, 38, 51, 15, speed to power. The bull is coming. Now, that's not all these guys want to do. They've got some nice tools as pass rushers, but they're going to test your durability early and see what you got. So get ready to anchor. It's not going to be fun, but get ready. I do think overall as a defense, they do a really nice job of bringing pressure, of only bringing 4, but in a variety of ways. Like they'll bring a linebacker, drop a defensive lineman out, and get to a 4-man rush in multiple ways. They do a nice job of creating matchups for their blitzing linebackers. They identify a matchup, like maybe it's a specific running back, and they say, hey, we're attacking this guy. And I got to feel it. And number 11, Chris Paul, is their guy that they like to bring as their blitzing backer. If we have number 8 on the field, number 11 is going to be coming.
Yeah. Yep.
And we'll see. We'll see what Taylor Tatum's made of. But they are going to test that young man, see if he has improved in his pass protection. They are. And they like overload on third and long, right? They get three defensive linemen to one side. They get them there and they're going to twist. And they're going to make the offensive line communicate, make them pass it all off. And then you got to deal with those guys once you pass it all off. They're going to see if OU can handle that. And then I don't know how many dollars I would bet, but I bet a lot of dollars, Ted. South Carolina got in double mug and wrecked OU's defensive or offensive line with a couple of the things that they did. I would be shocked if Ole Miss doesn't get in those exact looks and see if OU has corrected those mistakes.
Probably first third down you get. Here it comes.
You got to make sure they've ironed it out, right? Ironed out the issues throughout the week of practice.
They're helping us try to solve our issues. Is what?
Yes. How nice of them. But it's coming. Other than that, they will jump in bear. This is something that we've seen the last several weeks. They'll jump in bear. They're going to twist out of it. So you have to set off the ball as an offensive line, or if it's quick game, you would need to set at the same level in quick game and pass things off. If you're in second and long or third and long, you got some deeper developing routes. You got to get depth off the ball to give yourself some time to pass off all the twists. You have to be violent with your hands and snap guys off across your buddy's face. Don't let him get ear holed and picked. Protect your friends, guys. Please. That's all I got.
Well, here's what I hope. I hope we have a plan to win the football game. I don't want it to be, well, let's stop them on defense and let's try and score on offense. We need a plan to win the football game. In my opinion, we need a short, low-scoring game to win on the road. We are not any good at taking care of the football. So we have to have a plan to try and get us to the fourth quarter where we have a chance to win the game. The strength of their defense is the interior. Jet sweep, we talked about it. Outside zone, the bubbles, the tunnels, the pin pull stuff to get outside. I don't care if it isn't going all the way down the field. All I care about is running the clock, maintaining some possession, helping our defense out, and trying to get to the fourth quarter with a close game. Can we have a plan to win the game other than just trying to stop them and trying to score? You know what I'm saying? I feel like we haven't done that at all. Like there's not like a big overall team, like here's what we need to do to win this thing.
A complimentary plan.
Yeah.
To win the football game.
Yeah.
I love the sound of that.
Novel.
We're about to find out. Let's get to call your shot. We asked you guys the number one thing you'll be watching for in OU Ole Miss. Love this one from @CWhite_OU. He's looking for maximum effort in the will of the team. Take zero talent. Be cohesive and represent the interlocking OU with much class and integrity. Sooner Nation supports you. Forget the naysayers. Hell yeah, Corey. That's what I'm talking about, man.
Hey, you'll be really shocked at what can happen if on every single play of the game, you got 11 guys playing as hard as they can.
A lot of talent deficiencies, technical deficiencies, schematic deficiencies can be covered up if you just play your ass off.
Yep. And I'm not saying it's easy to do. It's hard. It's hard. That's why you don't typically flip the film on and say, "Oh my God, look at this team." It's hard to get all 11 guys to play that way, but should at least strive for it and get as close as you can.
I have to read this other one because it's unlike any call your shot we've ever gotten. This comes from at MMEJM3. He says, "This is the least of anyone's concerns, but I hope Brent doesn't wear his hat on the sidelines. He needs to change it up. He's way more intimidating looking without his hat on. Please suggest it to him."
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Maybe he should like paint up the face too over on the
Eye
sideline.
black?
Little eye black, little Braveheart look.
Shoulder pads? The ones he wore in college?
Yeah. Neck roll.
I thought that was interesting. I've never heard someone suggest, hey, coach needs to go hatless. Looks way better hatless.
I am sure that somebody will know what OU's record is when Venables is in a hat versus no hat.
You know the man cut, dude. You're his favorite player ever. Go tell him not to wear the hat.
I'll I'll if it's verifiable that we're better whenever he doesn't have a hat on, I'll tell him.
Okay. Someone get on that. So someone do that research. I don't know how you're going to do it.
You know what? All I have to do is say someone told me you look soft when you wear a hat on the sideline. Do with that
I'm
what you will.
I'm going to die laughing if he does not have a hat on Saturday. Could you imagine? Oh, all right. Let's learn some more about the Rebels from former Ole Miss quarterback John Darnell. But first,
Schwab Meat loves football. They make delicious smoked meats, hot dogs, and sausages for us to enjoy before, during, and after games. You should go load up on schwabmeat.com and use promo code OKBreakdown for free shipping on orders over $75. Schwab also loves football players in Oklahoma. They partner with Danny Stutzman and Nick Martin. Those two linebackers got the dog in them. Schwab should know dogs are what they do. Schwab Meat, the official hot dog of game days.
and three things matter in banking: service, service, and service. And First Fidelity Bank's commitment to exceptional service is more than a promise, it's their foundation. FFB has been by your side for over a century, and they are honored to be a part of your journey. Banking isn't about where you've been, it's about where you are headed. Open an account at an award winning bank today at ffb.com. At First Fidelity Bank, we go where you go.
And head to the garage for hand smashed patties, butter toasted buns, and ice cold beer. It's the perfect spot to watch any big game. And with all the garage locations being open at 10 p.m. or later every night, it's the go to late night spot. Visit eatatthegarage.com to find a location near you and order online from the garage in your neighborhood.
It is our pleasure to be joined by a former Ole Miss quarterback. He also does the sidelines for Ole Miss radio broadcast. John Darnell is in the house. John, how we doing, man?
Man, doing great. Great. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Before we talk about the Rebels, you played quarterback. Did you ever go through anything like the quarterbacks for Oklahoma are going through right
Mm.
now? We got an interesting situation going on here, John.
Yeah, you do. And yeah, I was part of that. I was part of a kind of a quarterback you know, battle. It seemed like my last 3 years at Ole Miss and one of the issues was the starting quarterback was my best friend on the team. So I don't know if that's a situation that Oklahoma has going on right now, but we just wanted to win. And he started and then he started having a bad year and then they put me in, which was kind of awkward going to the meetings and but we pulled for each other. And that was a good thing about that situation. And he had played before me and had some good years and just was struggling. And so our team needed a spark and they put me in, we started doing well. And then he was a year older than me and ended up starting his whole senior year. So he ended up getting the starting job back. But I was just thankful to get to play, and at the time, and just provide a spark for our team. So yeah, I mean it's a tough situation when you go in that small quarterback room and you're in there and they announce the other guy's going to be the starter. Yeah, sometimes it can have some awkward moments, but we pulled for each other and still are very good friends today. And we were just wanting to win at that point. Just want to do something good for the team.
It's wild. People get benched all the time, but when a quarterback goes down, it's like you walk into the facility and everyone's looking around, trying to avoid
Yeah,
eye contact. It's a different situation. Ole Miss isn't having that problem this year at all. Jackson Dart is he's on a tear and leading that offense. What have you seen in the growth of him over the last couple of years?
man, I tell you, he's I think if you talk to anybody from Ole Miss, with inside the building or outside the building, they just see a tough guy, a guy that just kind of lays it on the line every week. And we had some breakdowns in the offensive line this year and giving up some sacks. But just a tough guy and a guy that everybody pulls for. A guy that started off at USC and came into Ole Miss a couple of years ago, and he followed up a good guy named Matt Corral, who was a great quarterback. And and just the stats he's putting up is just unbelievable. Of course, the offense has been doing very well under Coach Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr. But the SEC schedule has been tough on us this year, and he's had some tough moments. So anxious to see how we're going to bounce back this week and how he's going to bounce back. Second half against LSU was tough. Gave up 5 or 6 sacks, I think, and looking to try to bounce back. And after an open week, we played 7 straight games this year and needed that open week. Had some guys banged up. So really, anxious to get back out there this week and see, if we can kind of put it together the rest of the season,
John, have you been surprised that they haven't put more points on the board? You mentioned how tough the SEC schedule has been. They've played Kentucky, who's got a really good defense. South Carolina, we just saw that defense in person. They got dudes
Yeah.
all over the field. And,
Yeah.
and then LSU has improved
Yeah.
defensively. I think the most points they've scored in an SEC game's 27.
Yeah.
Are you surprised that they haven't been able to have more success when it just comes to scoring points?
Very surprised because last year put up a lot of points against everybody. And then this year started off like that. The front end of the schedule, no disrespect to the teams that we played, but just weren't, that good on defensively for sure. And so the SEC has been disappointing. I thought that LSU game we left a lot of points out there, especially early on, and just hadn't been this hadn't been what we've been in the past. And the running games really kind of struggled in SEC play. And I don't know if that's offensive line, if it's a running back situation, but we're a better team when Jackson Dart runs the ball. And I think everybody, and even including the staff, was hoping that we didn't have to run him so much. But it looks like we're going to have to because we're just a better team when he runs the ball. And he's a not really fast runner, but he's effective. And so we're a better team when he can run the ball. And we did that a little bit against LSU, but the second half they just give LSU the credit. They whatever they did at halftime, they made the adjustments, and we weren't able to put the points up. And they scored right there at the end and went into overtime. And once it went into overtime, we got a holding penalty the first play of overtime, and you know how that goes. That's hard to overcome, and they won. And that's a tough place to play, but I think as Ole Miss former player and a fan, and seeing it, we're 2 plays away from being 7-0. but at the same time, we're just not playing as well on offense as we have in the past, and for whatever reason. So, and it doesn't get any easier this week with Oklahoma's defense.
Well, you mentioned the running game. Is there anything just schematically that is different this year, or is it just the change up in personnel that maybe isn't getting the same push up front and maybe not the same playmaking ability at back? I mean, understandable at running back.
Yeah, running back, we lost Quinshawn Judkins, went to Ohio State. And, he was a very good back, very, very, very good. And it's hard to replace a guy like that. But they replaced the offensive line with two guys from Washington who led that team last year at the national championship game. Got some guys that have been out, and hopefully they'll be back this week. One guy that started 50 games. Can you imagine playing 50 games in college? I can't remember. I can't imagine that.
Well, yes, I can, John, because I started 50 games in college.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. Even back then, when there was no COVID year and no extra year and all that. But Jeremy James, hopefully he'll be back this week. Broke a hand in preseason practice and hadn't played but one game this year. And so hopefully he'll be back. I don't know if he will be, but that'll add some depth on the offensive line. And the left tackle, Jaden Williams, has been out for the last couple of weeks. And I don't know if we'll get him back or not, but that should help. But the offensive line was not supposed to be an issue this year with all the depth that they and you've heard that Kiffin is the portal king, and brought two guys in from Washington last year, the starting offensive tackle from North Carolina. But for whatever reason, the offensive line just hadn't gelled together, and that running game just hadn't been the same without Quinshawn Judkins. And last week. Ulysses Bentley, who has been like a mystery this year, who was the number 2 back last year, a big play guy, has not played. And he played last week because of an injury. And third play, he got the ball. He ran 50 yards for a touchdown. And so I don't know if he's more in the plans this week. We'll see. But as I know the Ole Miss fan base would like to see him in there more. But, the coaches are at practice every day. They see that, and they're going to make the best decisions for the team. But he just seems like a guy that they need to have in there, and a big play guy that's fast and can make plays. So, we'll see. We'll see. It's week to week, and everybody's, kind of anxious to see if Ulysses Bentley gets more carries this week.
Looking at the defensive side of the ball for the Rebels, you got a couple absolute dudes on the defensive line with Walter Nolan and JJ Pegues. Just how good are these two guys?
I can tell you, Walter Nolan is one of the best I've seen in a while, in the red and blue for sure. He's just a beast, and goes full speed. Every play. The defense has really played good this year, and that's been kind of the thing the last few years. We just haven't been able to stop people. And they added some guys in the portal. Chris Paul, the linebacker from we got Arkansas, and this is I don't know if he was their best player, but I think he was their best player. Princely Umanumelin from Florida, rush in, played one play against LSU. Don't know how healthy he is. Hopefully the bye week will help. But Walter Nolan is worth whatever they're paying him in NIL. But LSU had two really good offensive tackles. Weren't able to get pressure on Neusmeyer, and he was able to make the plays. But with the defense this year, wouldn't have been able to stop people, and you would think with the history of Ole Miss and their offense and Lane Kiffin that would be all you need. It's just a defense just to stop people every now and then. And we would be good, but we just haven't been able to put the points on the board, haven't been able to close people out. 2 fourth downs. LSU had 2 or 3 fourth downs that last drive. Kentucky had a 4th and 7 in the last couple of minutes and threw a 65-yard pass and scored to win at the end. So the defense has not been an issue. Defense has played very well. That defensive front is as good as I've seen at Ole Miss in a long time. And, feel good about that. But like you said, Walter Nolan and P. Geese have really been good this year. And nothing negative about the defense is this year.
Or what's the injury situation? Are there any of the stars that you expect to be out? I had heard maybe Trey Harris is one of them.
Yeah, that's a question mark. I'll be anxious to see. Of course, when you see Lane Kiffin's injury report, he puts everybody on there from every walk on to every starter. So just don't know. Trey Harris had an Achilles issue going in the LSU game. Don't know that was the same injury, but didn't play in the second half. He's got 59 catches this year, which is unbelievable, which is like 40% of the offense. Didn't play in the second half. He's a really good player. He came in from Louisiana Tech. He was here last year, but the connection between him and Jackson Dart has just been unbelievable this year. He's got 13 yards from 1,000 yards receiving, and really been good. He's a good player. Hopefully he'll be healthy. I don't know personally. But he did not play in the second half against LSU, so hopefully he'll be able to go this week. They did bring in Juice Wells from South Carolina. He was their best receiver. He's not made the plays that I think that people were anticipating. He's had some drops. He's going in to score against South Carolina and just drops the ball and it rolls into the end zone for a touchback. Or that game would have been 35-3. But got a lot of depth there at receiver and tight end, and but like I said, that's not been the issue. The issue's been the running game and then the protection of Jackson Dart, and it's going to get even tougher this week.
You mentioned that the defense has been really good. Is there anything in particular you've noticed that maybe they've struggled with at times? Has there been anything that's really stuck out to you?
Yeah, well, stopping the run has not been a problem. Stopping the pass has been an issue. I think more so with penalties. We've had some terrible penalties in the secondary, hold in, pass interference. The one corner, Trey Amos from transfer from Alabama has really been good. The other corner has been somewhere they've played a lot of people at that one corner. The two safeties are back from last year. So I would say, just try not to hold or pass interference. I think we're the most penalized team in the conference, maybe, either on offense or defense. And we've really given up some bad penalties on defense. Giving up a lot of first downs for holding in the secondary or pass interference. And so I think the two linebackers are good. I think Chris Paul and TJ Daughtry, who's a transfer from Clemson, who played one game last year because of eligibility issues, but played in the bowl game against Penn State and has started every game this year. Two linebackers are good. The front is good. I think the secondary is somewhere where they hadn't found consistency where they'd like to have.
What do you expect environment-wise? I know it's the early kick, and from our side, a bunch of people had this one circled, really excited to go.
Yeah.
And as we've kind of fallen apart, I was just kind of curious what it's feeling like around there for game day.
Yeah, I mean, anticipation for us, or expectations for us, were playoff because the roster we put together, we're playoff or it's a bad year. And so the Kentucky loss was a tough one. That was one that, we had at home. It was the first SEC game at home. It was an early game also. And it just Kentucky got it done there at the end. And so that was a disappointment. Got it going at South Carolina and went to LSU, had a chance to win, should have won that game, led the whole game until the last, 30 seconds. And so I think it'll be good, even though it's 11 a.m. kick. It'll be a late arriving crowd, but it won't be as big a crowd as Oklahoma's used to seeing. But it's usually a pretty good atmosphere. And I think Oklahoma coming in, I think this is one game where a lot of people said, if we don't go to the Georgia Southern game, we're going to come to the Oklahoma game because it's Oklahoma, a lot of tradition. So I think it'll be a good crowd. Unfortunately, it won't be a night game. Night games are much better there, it seems like. But it should be a good atmosphere.
John, we appreciate it, man. And
Yeah.
we're making the trip. I'll be on the sideline. I'll
Yeah.
come find you.
Yeah. Let's get together and let's definitely get together before the game. And excited for you guys to come. Oklahoma has kind of been my uncle was the Russell Athletic representative in Oklahoma for years and years, and he gave me. I was always wanting a jersey, a jersey from Oklahoma, and he gave me a jersey when I was about 10 years old. I can't remember the name; it was on the back, but I wore that jersey all the time, and still got a cousin out there that follows Oklahoma. I'm sure he'll text me this week and say, Boomer Sooner. But I do have some ties to Oklahoma, so I'm excited for y'all to come to Oxford and experience the atmosphere, and just excited for y'all to come. So hopefully it'll be a good game. I'm sure it will be. We're excited about playing Oklahoma.
Awesome, man. Well, we'll see you there.
Yeah, man. Yeah, look forward to it.
Academy Sports and Outdoors is proud to be your hometown store for the best brands at the best prices in the state of Oklahoma. And now shopping at Academy is more convenient than ever. They offer free assembly on in-store purchases of most bikes and grills, plus free and easy 1-hour curbside pickup on academy.com orders. Want to save even more every day? Open and use an Academy Sports and Outdoors credit card to get 5% off future purchases when you're approved. Save time and money at Academy Sports and Outdoors, and have fun out there.
Insurica's launched a new digital agency introducing Insurica Direct. Whether you're in Oklahoma or anywhere across the U.S., they've got you covered. From small business insurance and health insurance for your employees to insurance for individuals like home, auto, and even Medicare supplements. Insurica Direct's got it all. Start your journey today at insuricadirect.com. Remember, at Insurica, we specialize in you.
And head to opolisclothing.com for our podcast merchandise and the best OU gear out there. That's OPOLIS clothing.com, and use promo code TED, TED, for 10% off. That's opolisclothing.com. Promo code TED for 10% off. Buttery soft and 10% off. All right, let's preview the best games of week 9 of college football. And let's start at Kyle Field in College Station. Number 8 LSU travels to take on number 14 Texas A&M. 6:30 kickoff on ABC. Currently, the Aggies are a 2.5-point home favorite, and massive football game. These are the only two teams that are undefeated in SEC play. Ted, everyone else has lost the conference game, so whoever wins this football game is feeling really, really good about things.
Yeah, and just kind of you look at A&M's schedule, and if they get through this one, I mean, you never know, obviously, this year because it looks like it's going to be one of those where anyone can lose to anyone, but this looks like the most difficult one they've got. They got LSU at South Carolina, which, is a tough football team, New Mexico State, at Auburn, and then they finish up with Texas at home. I mean, capable, and with their defense and how tough they've been on that side of the ball, looks like their offense is starting to find something as well. I kind of like A&M in this game.
I completely understand why you feel that way. And let's be real. Kyle Field is a factor.
Yeah.
Those people are going to be juiced up for this one.
One of the biggest games they've had in a while now.
And they're feeling really good about Mike Elko leading the program. They got a good team. Like that place is going to be breathing fire. And I expect it to be a close game. I think this is going to be an awesome football game. In big games like this, Ted, I tend to lean to the team that I feel has the better quarterback and better playmakers.
Yeah.
And I think that team is LSU. I trust Garrett Nussmeier more than Garrett Nussmeier. And you combine Kyron Lacey and Aaron Anderson in that as well. Like, I trust those guys more than A&M's guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Wigman is just, he's up and down. And it's also hard to trust him because everyone says his name differently. Is it Wegman or Wigman? I don't know. I swear, people alternated on purpose. And I've started doing it as well.
Beekman.
I don't know how to say it. I hear it both ways all the time. But I just don't know if his wide receivers, like, do they have the explosive play capability to match what LSU's got? Because I don't think Lacey or Anderson, like, those guys are going to embrace this stage. They know the entire country is going to be watching. And I expect those guys to ball out.
Yeah.
So it feels like Nussmeier's confidence is growing. He's starting to play some really good ball. So I feel like LSU has the advantage when it comes to the playmaking ability. But there's also part of me that just wonders, hey, can A&M just hand it to Le'Veon Moss 25 times and run the hell out of it?
That's what I think is going to happen, personally. The way A&M runs the football, what they're close to 220 yards a game, running the ball. LSU has found something a little bit defensively, but I'm not sure about them, especially against the run. I think the game plan for A&M should be relatively straightforward. We're going to run the rock. It's going to be very difficult for their offense to operate I like Nussmeier, and I do think that he's improved. He'll still make those mistakes, though. And maybe I'm making too much of the crowd and the environment.
Oh, you're not. Watching his LSU's offense against the Ole Miss defense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he will take some risks with the football. He absolutely will.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know. I'm going with the run game. I'm going with the home team. I'm going with the team that I feel like is going to play to their defense, try and shorten it, try and keep LSU on the sideline, frustrate their offense, keep them out of rhythm. I mean, I could see it going either way, obviously. And if LSU can turn it into a track meet, then I think they can win the game. But, I mean, it's a clash of styles to some degree.
Just say you're going with Mike Elko because he's a defensive guy and Brian Kelly's an offensive guy. Just admit it. It's fine.
Is it that obvious?
Yes. I will. I'm picking LSU to win the football game, and I don't like it at all because I'm starting to get really nervous picking against Mike Elko's team. I think the guy's a really good football coach.
Yeah.
And I think that team's going to be prepared and ready to roll. And I do think they have the better defense in this game. But they don't have Kyron Lacey, and they don't have Aaron Anderson. They've got really good players at wide receiver. I'm not saying they don't, but they don't have those two dudes. So I don't know. Maybe Nussmeier throws 3 picks, and this thing is an absolute blowout. Very possible. But I'm hoping.
You could say the same thing about Wegman, though.
True. All I want is a good game. Yeah, I want this to come down to the last couple drives in the fourth quarter. I am interested to see, can LSU get the running game going with Caden Durham against that A&M front? Oh, Will Campbell versus Nick Scorton. Oh,
yeah, good.
That's going to be fun.
The Sunday matchup.
Did you happen to see all the plays of Will Campbell against Landon Jackson, that edge guy for Arkansas?
No.
Oh,
they had like a cut up, had all the plays.
Oh, fantastic battle between two guys that are going to be early picks. Really fun to watch.
Nice.
I'll admit it. I watched it
a couple times. Too many.
A couple too many.
As soon as you woke up, it's the first thing you thought about, grabbed the phone.
Yeah.
I want to see that third rep again.
Oh, man. The independent hands. Oh, so you've got A&M. I'll take LSU.
I've
Deal.
got A&M.
I just want to be entertained. All right, another SEC game. Number 21 Missouri travels to Tuscaloosa to take on number 15 Alabama. It's weird seeing a 15 next to Alabama's name. Game's at 2:30 on ABC, and Alabama is a 14-point favorite. What? It's got Brady Cook's hurt. That's got to be it, right?
No, I know why it is. I saw this article today. It's because A&M is they're going to start dressing right. They're going to start tucking in their
You mean
shirts.
Alabama?
Yeah, what I say?
You
Yeah.
said A&M.
No,
You're all A&M, dude. You can't stop thinking about how much you love Elko.
no. Alabama said they're going to start wearing the right clothes. They're going to start tucking their shirts in. They're going to start showing up to meetings on time. No more of this being late, 10, 15 minutes to meetings. You're going to start doing things the right way.
Just like that.
I don't
Going to
know.
change the behaviors. Just like there's no way that stuff has happened. All those guys were under Saban, like they know what's what, right?
I don't know. When I read that, I was like, wait, what? They're now going to start showing up to meetings on time? What the hell is happening down there? If there's any,
Where did you see this article?
I think is it Rodak that writes for them?
I was just making sure you didn't see it on like The Onion or something.
I guess it could have
They're going to
been.
start tying their shoes.
I was shocked by it, and I like scanned the comments, and everyone else was kind of thinking the same thing I was. I was like, "Whoa!" But
So Bama's just going to fix all the issues in a week. Got it. I I think the spread has more to do with the fact that Brady Cook went to the hospital and then came back and beat Auburn. We'll see how that ankle's feeling, but I can't imagine it's feeling great. One interesting fact, Drew Pine, former Notre Dame quarterback, is the backup for Missouri. How about that? Is this a game where both quarterbacks are banged up? Jalen Milroe did not look good against Tennessee.
he didn't.
He wasn't running. It's like he didn't want to run. His arm, I don't know. It looked off, right?
Yeah, it did. I
And
don't
I'm not
know.
trying to take any credit away from Tennessee's defense, the way that they played in that game, but he did not. I don't know. He just didn't look like the explosive, dynamic guy that we're used to seeing.
No, I agree. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that was maybe you were starting to see some of the frustration come through. I have no idea. Um, but the most important thing to me, because if we're talking about players, and you know, it's in Tuscaloosa. Alabama can show up and beat them roster wise, right? They can out roster them all day long. But the doubt and the outside noise has to start creeping in to some degree with Alabama. And I wonder how much they've gotten there. I mean, whenever things happen like this and things start to come off the rails, you fall back on your discipline, you fall back on your principles, you fall back on your trust of teammates. And I just don't know where Alabama is on any of those things right now.
Yeah, I'm with you. But then again, I also like, can Missouri run the ball against Alabama? We just saw Tennessee run it all over 'em.
The way I've seen their backers play, I would say yes.
So if Marcus Carroll and Nate Noel can rack up some yards and they can stay balanced offensively, it's hard to imagine that Brady Cook's going to be running around all over the place with that ankle, but who knows?
I,
But Missouri couldn't run it against A&M at all. So I think this is an extremely interesting football game.
I do too. I mean, I watched, And I don't know that the numbers were just overwhelming, but I watched South Carolina do some really nice things in the run game at times against Alabama. And I don't think South Carolina's all that great of a rushing football team. So I don't know. It's so hard to pick because you have a team that's at home with one of the best rosters in college football against a team that's not playing very good. Quarterback may or may not be in the game. It's so far been a disappointment what the season's been. Like it should be Alabama 14-point favorite. Maybe I'm stupid to even question it.
I think the fact that we are questioning it says a lot about
I know.
what we've seen from Alabama this year. And remember, the secondary has not been great. Tennessee should have put up way more in the passing game. If Nico wouldn't have missed all those guys in the first half, those passing stats would have been big.
Mm-hmm.
Missouri still has Luther Burden. And maybe it's one of those situations. Maybe this is the game. Hey, 225 and 3 touchdowns for Luther Burden. Who
Luther
knows?
Burden's
But
not even leading the Missouri in receiving right now.
that would be Mr. Theo Wees.
That's right.
Good for Theo. But the only other thought I have on this game, Ted, what will Bama fans do if they lose this game?
I think it'll resemble what we saw at the Texas game with the bad call.
As their players are walking off the field, they're just hurling
Uh,
beverages at them.
I don't think that's going to be the case. I'm just saying that I think that, hey, man, when you push the standard up so high, woo, tough.
Losing to Tennessee is one thing. Losing to Vandy in Missouri, especially Vandy, but Missouri after you've already lost to Vandy.
Yeah. Hey,
I don't know what Alabama fans will do.
if if Alabama loses to Missouri, they can lose to LSU, which I think they will anyways. They can lose to Oklahoma on the road. Well, I don't know. Maybe I should withhold that
Let's just calm down.
until we see if we can not turn the football over a million times.
See if we can score a touchdown.
Yeah. But I mean, I would say that 4 losses is definitely a possibility as you stare at it right now. Crazy.
One other game I want to hit. Number 5, Texas travels to Nashville to take on number 25, Vanderbilt. This game's 3:15 on the SEC network. Texas is currently an 18.5-point favorite. But Diego Pavia. I know one thing for certain in this game. Diego Pavia has every guy in that Vandy locker room believing they can win this football game.
Yeah.
If they can beat Bama there, they can beat Texas there. That group is going to believe. However, I think what happened in Austin last weekend was a wake-up call for that entire football team. And I expect them to bounce back in a big way. I like Texas big in this football game because I think them getting whipped physically by Georgia resulted in some soul searching for that team.
Yeah.
I think it's going to, I bet it was it'll be a very focused week of work on the practice field for them. And they're going to be very motivated to get back on track. And Vandy isn't a gimme anymore.
No.
This isn't, hey, we just got smacked by Georgia, but oh, we got Vandy. Like Vandy draws your attention now.
Yes.
So I expect Texas to handle business in this game.
I do too, but I will say this. Vanderbilt, as you looked at it a week ago, Vanderbilt had the rare opportunity to beat the number one team in the country twice. Right? They beat Alabama when they were number one, and Texas was number one up until losing to Georgia. And Vandy had Ball State. Okay. They beat Ball State 24-14, nothing overwhelming there. But you know that they have been gearing up for this game. Texas is coming off OU Texas, straight into Georgia at home. They've spent a ton of capital on being prepared for those two games. And then here comes Vanderbilt, right? Which, say what you want, up until recently, that's a checkmark game. We'll handle business there. Not the case anymore. So that's the one thing that has me at least thinking that something interesting could occur here. Texas is going to be,
I think many interesting things can occur. I think the most interesting thing is, how does Quinn Ewers look early in this football game?
No doubt.
And he was fine in the second half of the Georgia game. I don't think he didn't light the world on fire, or at least that's not how I saw it. What happens if he comes out and he's shaky again?
He never really lights the world on fire. I mean, it's not necessarily his style, but I know what you're saying.
I would just be very interested in seeing how Steve Sarkisian would handle that. Like, if they can't get it going early offensively against Vanderbilt, what happens? We'll see. I also know this. There's no way I would lay this many points against Diego Pavia playing in that construction site. No chance.
Hard hat territory over there.
No chance. That is a guy I want no part of betting against. No thanks.
I just, as much as I would love to see Vandy win or even like play the thing really close, it's very difficult for me to see Texas's defense, him doing the same thing to Texas's defense that we've seen, like just kind of going out and gaming. They're so athletic. But hey, crazier things have happened. I'll take Texas to win the football game, but I hope there's some drama late.
I want the Pavia show. That's what I want. That's what I want to watch.
I mean, can you imagine if that's the case? You'd have two number one teams in the country previously in conference, now with two losses.
I don't think Vandy's going to win the game. I like Texas to win the football game, but one thing I do hope is that Vandy fans show up and support that team. They deserve it, man.
I can't imagine that it's not the biggest environment they've ever had.
Did you see the environment, though, when they beat Bama? There was Bama fans everywhere.
Well, yeah, because they didn't know they were going to beat. They were 2-2 at the time.
I understand, but all I want is for the good people of the city of Nashville to support that football team, because those guys deserve it.
Yeah.
They're putting a really good product out on the field. So I do have one more thought on this game.
Okay.
Over the last couple of years, I've heard several people talk about it, but there's going to come a day where a college football player sues the NCAA for the ability to just keep playing college football, saying that the NCAA is restricting their earning potential with the eligibility limit.
Mm-hmm.
I want that player to be Diego Pavia. I want to watch this guy play college football forever.
Lifetime college football player. Hey,
because He's gonna go. He's not gonna go to the NFL. He's gonna just kind of disappear. We should be able to watch this guy entertain us on Saturdays for the next 10 years. I'm fine with it.
He'll be the Vanderbilt version of Cam Rising.
Yes. Perfect. That'd be perfect. Does anybody say no? Like, would
No.
anyone not want to see 5 more years of Diego Pavia at Vanderbilt?
Of course, they want to see it. Gets the people going.
It would be awesome. Let's finish up with our winners and losers of the week. As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
I had to go with Mr. Mark Andrews. Gabe, did you know that Mark Andrews is now the all-time leading receiving touchdowns at Baltimore? 43 lifetime receiving touchdowns. Passes Todd Heap. Congratulations, Mark. Well done. And got it in a big time win over one of his best friends, Baker Mayfield, on Monday Night TV. Or Monday Night TV. Monday Night Football. What
That was
that?
so weird.
Monday Night TV.
I was like, is this a new thing? Is Teddy calling Monday Night Football?
What is
What was that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Oof,
This is what happens when we record late at night and not in the morning.
been a long day. But I thought that was awesome. Good for Mark. Big time win. 43 receiving touchdowns for his career there at Baltimore. Pretty impressive. And don't look now, Gabe, but that is a 5-2 football team that's playing some good ball.
Number one scoring offense in the league.
Is that right?
They've been putting up points, man.
Yeah. They're tied with the Washington Commanders, which
That makes a lot of
will be
sense.
going down a little bit.
That is, I mean, the Ravens, that offense is fantastic. Lamar Jackson's playing some really good football. I still can't get over how good Derrick Henry looks in that uniform. It's amazing.
I can't believe how good he looks. I can't believe how fast he still is.
What do you have, like 170 yards in that game? Monday Night Football? He's
I
running
mean,
wild, dude.
it had to be 169
Nice.
on 15 carries.
Well, he had like an 80-yarder. I mean, so that'll do it. But he
know.
looks great. Lamar Jackson. It was interesting that he slimmed down the way that he did, but my gosh, he is. I mean, he looks fantastic.
Derrick Henry is listed. There's no way this is correct. He's listed on ESPN at 6'2", 247. 6'2", my ass. There is no way.
He's big. What do you think? 6'3.5"?
He's every bit of 6'4". We're talking about the same person, aren't we? Derrick Henry?
Yes. I've stood next to him before. I didn't really think about it. All I thought was this guy's enormous for a running
I'm a
back.
quarter of an inch away from 6'2". Me and this guy are not close to the same size.
Well, take it up with the people measuring. Don't get mad at me.
Well, what I really was looking at that he's 30 years old now, which that makes me feel incredibly old, and he's moving great. I mean, typically a back of that size doesn't have great lasting power in the NFL.
He is. I mean, he's one of a kind. In this era of football, feels like he's one of a kind. It's awesome. I'm happy that he's succeeding. It's like all the guys that I played with in Tennessee that played with him love him. So Ravens are damn good. Are they the best team in the league? I know that Kansas City beat them. I know that Kansas City's undefeated.
I mean, someone's going to have to convince me that it's not Detroit.
I love watching the Lions succeed.
Dude,
Makes me happy. Makes my heart happy.
Run the ball so good. It is so awesome watching them run the football.
Ben
Thank you.
Johnson could dial it up, brother.
Oh my gosh. Good stuff.
Who do you have as your loser of the week?
Baker Mayfield. I'm
Mm.
going back to the same game. Here's a team that was cruising, looking really good. Um, and then they lose to Baltimore, but man, did they take their lumps in that game. Godwin goes down, the broken leg.
Well, it's not supposed to turn that way, Ted.
No. You hate when you see a guy laying on his belly with the foot sticking straight up in the air.
Did you see the clip of him on the cart? It was pretty cool. I think he was talking to the athletic trainer who was sitting on there with him, and I'm not the best lip reader, but it looked like he said, "Back to work."
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like to be in that moment, just snap your leg and just be like, "Hey, back to work." I'm not betting against that guy. And
Yeah.
I know he's had his injury issues, but it was a cool clip.
Yeah. And then Mike Evans, they say he's going to be out until the bye week. Godwin's done for the season. Hey, Shep, here we go, man. Now's your time to step up, fill that role. The road just all of a sudden got way more difficult. And the Bucks, they got the Chiefs coming up, they've got the 49ers coming up. So
49ers are beat the hell too.
yeah, that's right. That's right. We'll see what
So
happens. I mean, everyone, this is the NFL. This is not the first time a team has had injury issues, but they're going to have to battle through. I hate that for them. They were rolling.
things are not easy when your top two wide receivers are out.
And it just goes to show you how quickly things can turn in football.
Changed quickly. Hate that for Baker.
I do too.
He was on his way to MVP, man. And now doesn't feel like he's on his way to MVP. It's hard to do when you don't have your best wide receivers. Damn it.
It feels like he's headed for an early fishing trip, perhaps. I don't know.
I'm not betting against that guy, but yeah.
Too early to tell. They'll be okay.
Maybe they can. You think they trade for someone?
I mean, it happened a week too late.
Has the deadline already gone by?
I don't think it has, but I mean, you had both Amari Cooper and
Right.
Devontae Adams get traded last week.
I wonder if the Rams would trade Cooper Kupp.
He's hurt.
Get him down to Florida. Get him in some humidity.
Get that circulation flowing.
Get the blood flowing down there, man. Oh, you could do it, Baker. Let's go. All right, let's get to my winner and loser. But first, we're brought to you by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code OKBreakdown to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. And make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. You just pick more or less on at least two players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. This week, I'm looking at the football board and selecting Jordan Addison more than 40.5 receiving yards and Matthew Stafford less than 1.5 touchdown passes on Thursday Night Football. Prize Pick puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When your picks hit, you can get your money in as quick as 15 minutes. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code OKBreakdown to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
We're brought to you by HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. We all know home-cooked meals are so much better for you, but you don't always have time to pull it off. But with HelloFresh handling all the meal planning, shopping, and most of the prep, it's easier than ever to get dinner on the table quick and painless. My wife and I made HelloFresh's pecan-crusted chicken with honey mustard sauce and lemony apple salad. It's easy to make, healthy, delicious, and it was easy to follow the instructions. Only took about 30 minutes. HelloFresh lets you easily customize your delivery from week to week, tailor everything to your schedule by adjusting your delivery day, or skip a week when you're not able to cook at home. Get 10 free meals at HelloFresh.com/free OK breakdown. It's applied across 7 boxes, new subscribers only, and varies by plan. That's 10 free HelloFresh meals just by going to HelloFresh.com/free OK breakdown.
For my winner of the week, thought about going with the Oklahoma City Thunder. You ready to get this thing started, Ted? Let's go.
Ready or not, here we come.
Get started Thursday night in Denver. Now, it's a bummer. Hartenstein will be out with a broken hand for a while, but think that this is going to be a really good squad. Been consuming a lot of preseason NBA content, and pretty much everyone has us going to the finals. Some of them have us winning the finals. So the expectations could not be higher for this team. And that journey starts on Thursday night, and I'm fired up about it. Let's go.
Going to be awesome. The couple additions that they made seems like the fit's perfect, right?
I'm bummed he broke his hand, but with Hartenstein out for a while, it does give Mark Daigneault, he loves to tinker with lineups, Ted. It's his favorite thing. Mm-hmm. Just throwing random lineups out there. So we'll see some tinkering from Daigneault, and we'll see what it looks like. But I feel great about the addition of Caruso. I thought that Case and Wallace looked really good in preseason. Chet looks way more aggressive going to the basket. Shea's shot looks so much smoother. I think he's going to have a career year from 3. Jalen Williams is even better. Stop rolling your ankle, though, man. Stop it. Adidas better be paying that guy a lot of money. Change your shoes. Stop rolling your ankle. Wear some Nikes.
That's like a hard thing to kick. Once it happens and all those ligaments are loosened up.
Don't stop it. What are you doing? Stop.
Just saying.
He rolled it in the preseason game I was at, and I was like, I want preseason to be over right now. But I'm beyond excited for this season. It's going to be so much fun. But my winner of the week, Major League Baseball. Yankees Dodgers World Series. You kidding me?
Logo series.
I mean, that's pretty much ideal for everyone involved. TV networks, the league, and then these are 2 deserving, like really good baseball teams.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
And then you got the biggest names in the sport in the World Series. 2 massive brands. I mean, what else could you ask for? And I know a lot of people hate both of these organizations. I get that. I don't have a baseball team, so I don't have to worry about it. I just want to be entertained. And I know this. Shohei Ohtani's going to entertain me. Aaron Judge is going to entertain me. Garrett Cole's going to entertain me. Mookie Betts, Juan Soto. Like, there's so many guys in this series. It's going to be awesome. Get started on Friday night. Once again, fired up.
Who do you think wins it? Do
Yankees.
you have any idea? Yankees? What's your theory?
I think they got the better bats, man. I guess Ohtani could go crazy. Give me the Yankees. I don't care who wins. You're looking at me like you're offended I picked the Yankees.
No, I don't know. I have no idea who's going to win.
This is who's going to win. Whoever's bullpen is better.
I know. That's why when you said they had the better bats, I was taken aback. That's going to be the difference?
I don't know. You're acting like I'm a hardcore baseball guy.
We'll say Stanton's coming alive.
Judge has not been good in the playoffs.
I know.
I haven't been talking about it on here really, but I've been watching.
I don't know. I don't know enough about either team really, which, it's kind of like the perfect series for me. I know the stars, so I could tune in and, you know, like learn as I go. It's fun to do that.
I can't wait for us to make sweeping judgments about the guys on both of these teams based on a handful of games. It's
Yeah,
gonna be great.
one or two games. Yeah,
It's gonna be great.
perfect.
Otani stinks. Guy can't hit in the clutch. I doubt that's what we're gonna be saying. Judge has more pressure on him, in my opinion, because I don't think he exactly has the reputation of being clutch in massive moments when it comes to the playoffs. And here's his opportunity. And he hasn't been awful at the plate, but he hasn't been, this guy's getting paid $1 gajillion good at the plate in the playoffs.
How awesome would it be if they walked Otani out to start game one?
Oh my gosh. He just like walks out, he just like shakes his arm. He's like, all right, here we go. Elbow
Yeah.
feels good today.
Uh, dude, and I know this isn't the
Who is
first
it? Cole
time.
and Flaherty going in game one, I assume? I didn't look it up.
Yeah, probably. I I don't
Yeah.
know how often we've had um, a New York versus LA like series, like a but that's a lot of travel.
Yeah.
If
That's a
this
good
thing
point.
goes seven games, that's a lot of travel.
They'll be fine.
Yeah.
My
Drag
loser of the
this
week.
thing out, man. Drag this thing
I'm
out.
excited. This is the most excited I've been for the World Series in a while.
I'm glad you brought it up because I'm going to force my son to watch all the games with me.
Love that. Love that for you. Some father-son bonding time.
Feel bad for the video games. Sorry. Feel bad for YouTube. Sorry. We're watching baseball.
Love it. You're such a good father. Good for you.
Yeah, right.
My loser of the week. I'm going with Indiana. And hear me out, Ted.
Mm.
7-0 football team. College game day is going to Bloomington, isn't it?
Yes.
So they've got Washington this weekend. College game day's going there, so going to be a big deal, going to be an awesome atmosphere. But the biggest reason they're 7-0 is their offense. They got the number one scoring offense in college football. And a big piece of that is Kurtis Rourke. He's been awesome. He got hurt in their blowout win over Nebraska. And he had thumb surgery on Monday. The thumb on his throwing hand. He's a quarterback.
Seems like a bigger deal than Coach Signetti was making it.
Yeah, what he called it, the thumb thingy.
He's got a little thumb thingy.
And I'm reading these reports, and people are out there like, oh, they feel great that he's going to be back for Michigan State on November 2nd. What kind of thumb surgery did this guy have to where he's going to be back in 2 weeks?
I don't know.
I've never heard of that. Is there like a tightrope equivalent? You know how you do the tightrope on the ankle? Is there a thumb
I don't know,
equivalent?
but if they had, I should have gotten it
Oh, gosh.
with this thing.
This is why you watch on YouTube, people. Yeah, we've got,
Tell.
yeah, we're dismembered. We're dismembered podcasters. But in all seriousness, like all these things I'm reading is like, oh, they feel really good about him being back for Michigan State on November 2nd. How is that going to happen? He just had thumb surgery a day ago.
I have no idea. That does not seem like a very good. I can't even comment. I don't know.
We're not doctors. Maybe
Right.
there is some very simple minor thumb procedure that we just don't know about. But thumb surgery on your throwing hand for a quarterback seems like a very big deal to me.
Yeah.
And it makes me sad because this is a guy that was starting to get legit Heisman Trophy buzz.
Yeah.
And he deserved to be in that conversation with how good he has been and how good that offense has been and how good that football team has been. So
Yeah,
it really bummed me out to see that it's not just some thumb thing. Like the dude had surgery on his throwing hand.
where's the Taven Jackson kid from? Is he a transfer in?
No, he was their quarterback last year.
Okay.
Not
So
that he's young. He's only like a sophomore. He started, I want to say he started 5 or 6 games for him a year ago.
that may be right. I guess he originally was at Tennessee.
Nice.
He's at Tennessee in 22. And then last year looked like he did. I mean, he had 128 attempts last year, so he played some significant football.
He's a really talented guy. I mean, he came in and that game was over already, but he looked really good when he came in against Nebraska.
Big kid, 6'4", 215.
Athletic guy, moves well, not afraid to push it down the field. I don't know how big the drop off is going to be, but Rourke's been really, really good. And that guy has played a ton of football. And you just have to imagine a guy that's played that much football, has all that experience. I mean, he's been leading this offense and they have just been rolling. And now he's out. I don't think that they're in trouble against Washington this weekend or anything, but I just want to know that Kurtis Rourke's coming back and he's going to be the same guy because he's been so much fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, let's hope so. They got it going, and I know a lot of people around here are going to be watching the Indiana offense closely. That name has been one of the ones that keeps floating around. Mike Shanahan.
I've maybe done some late night watching. I like it. I like it a lot. But we'll see.
But I wish it looked like the other Shanahan offense. Then you could really get me signed up.
Do you think we could get Kyle? You think he would leave a head coaching job to be our offensive coordinator?
Yeah. I mean, for the right price, perhaps.
I don't know what's going to happen. What happens if this offense just kind of lights it up under Joe John?
I don't know. I brought that up today on the radio show. I was like
one's if they score like 30 something points a game the rest of the way.
Yeah.
Like then what happens?
People were hitting the text line and we were kind of joking about how you could still make the playoff as a 3-play team. And I was like, I mean, seriously, like what is the dilemma if that happens? Maybe you don't have a problem if that happens, I guess, but it is interesting to think about if they do somehow flip a switch.
I hope that's the conversation we're having on the next episode of this podcast.
What do we do now?
Oh my God, the offense lit it up. Joe John's the best play caller on the planet. Like that's the conversation I want to have with you on Sunday, buddy.
I agree.
Birthday shout outs. Happy second birthday to Violet Bowen.
Happy third birthday to Xavier Hermosillo.
I think if you say it a little faster, you'll sound fancier. Xavier Hermosillo.
Oh, is that it? Xavier
I don't know.
Hermosillo.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. Xavier Hermosillo. Happy third birthday.
Happy 8th birthday to Grace Jensen.
Happy 24th birthday to Parker Huckabee.
Happy 35th birthday to Simeon.
Happy 45th birthday to Ryan Marvel.
And happy 66th birthday to Larry Basaliga. I think I nailed that, dude. Basallyga. Basaliga.
I think you nailed it too. It's funny because I was looking at it and that was not what I was coming up with. And you said it, I was like, oh yeah, that's it.
On that note, episode 468 in the books. We'll have a new podcast that'll drop on Sunday. Just a reminder, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hope you all have a great rest of your week. Have an awesome weekend, Until next time, we appreciate y'all for listening. Do what you always do, Oklahoma. Take care of each other.